a given level. Okay? So basically what the water agency drops is a guideline for what is tolerable in terms of, call it heavy metals and contaminants and pesticides and germs. Okay, so they have sort of an upper limit of how much is tolerable before they call it not good for consumption and good to go to. And every state, every city has a slight tweak on what they call non-tolerable.
So even if you wash your shower every day and all of that, you just turn on the water and then there they are?
And there they are. That's why, Mimi, on one of her slides, showed a thing saying, and it was repeated for almost all of the germs, right? There was something in there that said either water, right, that they like to live in water. Water is the key to it. Yeah. But again, water is the key to it. Meaning anything that is humid is going to breed germs. Okay? So, what is the opposite of humid? It's dryness. If you keep things dry, that's going to take you a long way. And those studies have been done. If you take a piece of CF sputum, smear it on a wall, and with a hair dryer, dry it completely, and then swab it the next day and try to culture the Pseudomonas back, it's gone. Okay? Dryness is what kills the germs, because they like the humidity. So, okay, you walk out of the shower, if you dry yourself really good, then you're taking care of it. Okay? Because again, it's really hard to keep it completely away no matter how you filter.
Do you have any advice about taking a toddler on an airplane, or is that just all bets are off and tough luck?
Plastic bag.
Bubble wrap.
The bubble. No, it's a very good question. Good hand hygiene, meaning frequent hand disinfection, and wearing a mask. Those two things will give you the best chances. Okay? Now I can tell you, every time I go on a plane, I catch something, no matter how hard I try not to. And it's because, well, I don't bother with, as much as I talk about this stuff, I always forget about my Purell, and I don't walk around with a mask. But that has been shown to at least give you a little bit of advantage over there. And obviously, they sat you right next to someone who looks like unquestionably has the flu. That was my last, that's how I got the flu. I came back from Toronto, I sat down next to a guy, just sneezed the whole 6 hours of flu. Regardless of my Purell, I was unlucky enough to.
Yeah, the mask, I don't see how that's possible.
Or sniff it, right?
Little allergies, a little cream or whatever. So it blocks the allergies. Or Neosporin, put it like right there.
See, I just wanted to say for people who travel, because for a long time I was paralyzed to fly with Tess until she was older, and the key thing is when you fly, you do ask to pre-board, right? Do you know this? I mean, go up to the desk, say, I have a child with a medical condition, can we pre-board? And I just flew across the country with my daughter this week. And we always pre-board, get the equipment out of the way, and then I have like the big thing peroxide, and I wipe down the entire area. Anything you can touch in that zone, because it's all about the touching. Everybody's going down the aisle.
It's not just the touching. Even if you touch, you still have an opportunity to keep it away. And that's by not.
Exactly. So if you, but take advantage of the pre-board, at least, and I put it by just exactly. So at least you get a little fun. Oh yeah, they will always.
Before she eats, you want to avoid this thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bottled water thing, is it spring water they're supposed to drink, or what is the best to avoid, the germ piece?
Well, no, bottled water is being filtered and cleaned and has very little counts of germs. So that's a safe bet, or any type of filter water.
Purified, spring, none of those are better than
Filter, all of those are fine. Even water out of the tap, there was a study came out, I can't remember how long ago, that compare, bottle and filter and your and pure and the Brita and just from the tap. I can't remember what city they did it. And they came out pretty close in terms of, whether they have whatever level of bacteria.
And then the other is kind of piggybacks on what you said about the humidity. Grace has been asking me for not 10 years because she was a baby, but for a very long time she doesn't understand the hot tub piece, and we tell her she can never ever go in a hot tub. Can you give me like a little takeaway to tell her about why, other than germs? I mean, is there any other
is a breeding ground for germs. You know, that's the best argument you can
Okay.
use. And it's not necessarily just Pseudomonas. That NPM, mycobacteria, they like to hang out on that kind of stuff.
Okay. What about the pool versus the house? Is it the
Well,
same or?
if it's chlorinated, and that your nose will tell you, it's pretty safe. But it's always advisable, you know, once you're out of the pool, take a shower, rinse really
There was
good,
reading
and then
that
dry out.
Pseudomonas live in chlorinated substance.
No, but remember, swimming pools are chlorinated to a higher degree than tap water,
Oh,
because it's seeping water, it's not running.
maybe.
Along the same lines of the hot tub, I understand that kids with CF shouldn't be in the hot tub, but what about like family members? Can they be in the hot tub and then touch them?
Yeah, because you know, your ability to control whatever is out there is an order of magnitude better than a kid's. So you tap and then you remember kids. take
No,
the
but I
long way.
mean, should they take a shower before touching the child with CF?
No.
What about like prevention from the inside? Let's say if there are herbs that they can take and the bacteria doesn't like it, I don't know, garlic or
You know,
something.
again, there's very little evidence about any of that. The field of trying, I was involved in one of the studies ages ago trying to find a vaccine against Pseudomonas. And every time we come up with something that looks like, okay, here we are, it fails. It's really hard to contain it with all of the typical approaches of avoiding infections, you know, vaccines and serums and antibodies. It's always come close, but not proven to work.
I don't know, this is not medical, but I'm thinking, what about if you put like that tea tree oil in your nose? It kills bacteria, will it prevent it from coming in? Because it doesn't, or it does? There's nothing about studies about
It
it.
doesn't. Now, again, you know, that study that we published last year, we show very clearly that, you know, we all walk around with lots of germs. I don't know if you heard this buzzword microbiome. It's basically an emerging concept that, you know, we not only are surrounded by germs, but we live with germs. We carry billions of germs everywhere in our body. Okay? Behind our eyelids, inside our ear canals, in our throats, nose, gut, lungs, stomach, everywhere you're going to find germs. Okay? But it's not like everywhere is the same amount. You know, there are places where you find very little, places where you find a lot. And what we find is that everybody has like its own little community. You know? Because in your gut, they help you do a bunch of things, including bringing nutrients on board and keeping your metabolism going. And it's an emerging, fascinating field because you can change people from, you know, being more on the, let's say, obese side of things, pre-diabetic, to being more on the lean or not having metabolic issues just by changing their flora. They're very specific signatures. And that's one of the things that we found. You know, CF has also a very specific signature. Okay, and people that, okay, we knew from their throat cultures and sputum cultures were positive for Pseudomonas. Well, what we found was a list of 300 different germs in their sputum. Oh, I get the sign there. They're going to kick us out soon. Please fill out your evaluations. I hope you enjoyed the day. There's a lot of people. Believe it or not, Monday, probably Colleen is going to grab me to sit down and plan next year's. We start really early on this. And one of the things that we take into account very heavily in terms of planning the next one is what your feedback was. What kind of things you didn't like, what things you like, and how you like about the layout of the rooms, and the program, and the hours, and all that is very much taken into account. So in particular, if you have suggestions for things you'd like to see us do next year, please let us know. Because the process starts next week.
If we think of any suggestions later, who do we contact for that?
Anyone?
Anyone? Myself, Mary, whomever, Dr. Milla.
You know, the indoor ones, they put a lot of chlorine in their stuff. Yeah, they do. Because you know, it's what helps them keep, I mean, the water is not like flowing out of somewhere and then being thrown out. They're recirculating. But again, the key to it is, you know, shower and dry. disinfect.